Hey everyone, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This podcast is all about farmers markets, how to increase your market business success while providing people with fresh food. Farmers markets are essential. Whether you're a farmers market manager or a small farmer or food maker selling at farmers markets, you have found just the right podcast. This week on Tent Talk, we're reflecting on 2021 and sharing resolutions, plans, and aspirations for 2022. Hey everyone, I'm one of your hosts, Bridget Myers. I'm a longtime Farmers Market Manager, Vendor 101 co-teacher, and Education Coordinator at Farmers Market Pros.
And I'm Kat Fields-White, Director of San Diego Markets, still an active Farmers Market Manager and Consultant, founder of Farmers Market Pros, and host of Intense, the Farmers Market Conference, and the Farmers Market Pros community.
And I'm Justine Marzoni-Mead, Tent Talk producer, marketing director for Farmers Market Pros, and logistics coordinator for Intense, the Farmers Market Conference, coming right up March 7th through 9th, 2022.
That's so close.
I know.
It's very
Early
soon.
bird ticketing is just about to close too, right? So,
Yes.
everybody wants to get registered for that. We're getting so close.
Yeah, buy yourself a Christmas present. You deserve it.
That's right. What a gift. What a gift to give yourself.
It is. For
Then you
sure.
can come see us. We're a gift.
Yeah.
Well, thank you,
We
dear.
are a gift.
That's my
We
New Year's
are.
resolution, a little more self-confidence.
Because you've always been lacking.
Yeah, I was going to say.
All right, New Year's resolution. Don't be friends with Kat and Justine anymore.
Good luck.
Oh,
Never get away.
can't avoid ya.
Nope. Yep, we are excited about the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so soon. Today's episode of Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is supported by Vendor 101, just in time for those New Year's resolutions about getting educated, following your dream, or streamlining your workload. If you're an aspiring vendor or already operating and need a refresher, the self-paced online Vendor 101 course will help you succeed. If you're a market manager, save payroll and reduce the time you and your team devote to vetting applications by referring brand new vendors to Vendor 101. They'll come back ready to apply with stronger product lines and with the skills to launch and operate successfully at your market. For more information or to register, click the Vendor 101 logo on the resource page at farmersmarketpros.com.
Well, welcome back to Tent Talk, everybody. Today we are wrapping up another wonderful year of podcasting by sharing our 2021 Farmers Market accomplishments and our big plans for 2022.
Woohoo.
Woo!
Yay!
What a year. Although I will say that 2021 felt like about 5 years long. So we can make a very, or it kind of went by real fast.
I think
kind of
it
go toggle
zoomed by.
between. Oh, I feel like
It did
January
both, but-
2021 sounds like years ago.
A long time ago, but also like thinking about the conference in March, it seems like there's been no time since then. For me, it zoomed by.
Kind of, but then I also, whenever I talk about the conference, I always say last year. But it
Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
last year, it
it's
was
been a
this
time
year.
warp. But maybe it's because I don't have kids. I think that
maybe
time
that's
went
it.
by
Yeah.
really fast.
No, I
they
think it
slow
was
it
an
down.
odd dichotomy that it zoomed by and it felt like it lasted forever. I don't know what that is. What's that thing they say?
The days are long,
Days
but
are
the
long.
years are short.
Yeah, I guess
That's true.
I don't know. It was a bizarre year. I feel like we were coming out of the
bizarro
Twilight Zone.
land.
The
Yes, we're
Twilight- the combination of 2020 and 2021, I sort of feel like we're surfacing from
Yeah.
a Twilight Zone experience.
Time,
That's
space,
true. So that's a
continuum.
big thing is I think that we'll see, in the years to come, we'll look back on 2020 and 2021 and just lump everything together.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of ways, it was much of the same. Like
Yeah.
some of the pain points were the same. The silver linings, many of them were the same. So kind of like 2020 extended.
Yeah, but I feel like at this point in the year, we have a little more of a clear head and like perspective than in this point of the year in 2020
That's
when we
for
were
sure.
all just like hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to a 2022 over.
Oh.
A 22 over. Get it? I'm trying to make that word. That's going to be a T-shirt. We
We need to
need
do
a
that
22
t-shirt
over.
to make up for our 2020 vision shirt that we made for 2020 because
Yeah,
that year was going to
dear.
be fantastic.
It was going to
Shredded
be
them.
so amazing.
Wait, but did we jinx it by making that shirt? So
Yeah.
maybe we
Maybe.
shouldn't do the 2022
Yeah.
22
over.
over? I don't know. We'll
We'll
see.
just say it.
All right.
So did we, in general, see any big changes at farmers markets in 2021? Or
So many.
I mean, that weren't existing in 2020, or is it just kind of?
Oh.
Again, it's all one thing.
Sort of all one thing. It's been interesting, though, because I think so many markets have had to rebuild. I mean, it wasn't our normal, hey, we had this many vendors in 2019, and then we had this many vendors in 2020 and how are we making subtle changes to our market curating approach, it was, we had all these people that went out of business or decided to sell online or moved out of state or whatever. So our normal trajectory just took this weird jag, and the last half of 2021 was, for me, very much like around 2010 or 2012 when I was actually building a market. We had we had to not host people. We had to have those huge gaps between booths. And all of those folks didn't just, land somewhere in suspended animation waiting to come back. They moved on. And so we had to really start over, pointing people towards Vendor 101 and incubating new vendors and trying to bring people back. It was not a sudden go back to normal kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think after 2020, I saw kind of a difference in the vendors. Either they just became way more resilient, and it's like you have a slow day at the market, and some vendors would be like, fine, I'm quitting, and they just leave, where it was like, if you have a slow day at the market, it's like, I can get through that. Like, I got through anything, I can get through that. Or the other side of that is, hey, this isn't working for me. I'm not going to drag this business out until it just bankrupts me. I'm going to, life is short and anything could happen. I think we all have that kind of perspective now.
Yeah.
And so they say, they fold their businesses a little bit sooner than maybe they would. So I kind of seen both sides of that with the vendors. So more of like the resilient, like going to stick through it. Like, hey, I left my other job, or I had to leave my other job, or my other job left me. And so now this is what I want to do, and this is my passion. I'm really going to commit to it. I'm seeing a lot more of that.
It's a little less like wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Yeah, not so much side hustle or expanded hobby as I'm going to make a life change. I'm going to follow my dream.
Yeah.
Or farmers that are like, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've seen kind of like this like long arc of maybe not seeing anything as bad as what we experienced in 2020, but kind of like, I'll weather the storm.
Yeah.
We'll be
That's
okay.
true. Farmers are crazy resilient because they've had all kinds of weird disasters that are unexpected and sort of uncontrollable, other than controlling your reaction.
Yeah.
And they're good at it. They were good folks for us to follow.
For sure. It was nice that they were leading the pack there, kind of against their will or not by choice, but they led us and we followed them, and it was nice. We all got to kind of pick up on some of that resilience that they always have naturally had.
Reluctant leaders, but
they were.
So what was your favorite part of 2021, looking kind of on the bright side of things?
Yeah. Justine, why don't you tell us your favorite part?
My favorite part was, getting vaccinated, because then I wasn't so worried to be at work in front of thousands of people or, getting my parents sick or whatever. So that was exciting. And then also in June, when we got just a little relief of not having to enforce masks or social distancing at our market. Obviously, I did that very willingly and happily to keep our farmers market community safe. But it was a gigantic relief once we didn't have to count in people at the entrance and exit of our market, and things got a little bit closer back to normal, and it just made our job a heck of a lot easier. There was a lot less cussing, and
a lot less anger.
So many fewer eyes rolling.
Yes.
So that was fun, and it just, I don't know, I remember the first day at the market when we didn't have to do that, and I just felt like a little like cartoon character, like jumping up and down and like grinning and literally getting to see people's faces that I had seen their person every week, but I was like, everyone just looks so handsome. I was like, I forgot how cute you were, and there was just like a really excited, joyful day at the market when we got to not have to wear masks outside. So that was really happy.
It was definitely like burned in my memory, I think, that day. It just felt like after over a year of just all that trauma, like that was just nice. And everyone was still like nervously doing it. I don't feel like we were all just like, woohoo, like COVID's over.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, we're outside, it's safe, we're gonna take our mask off, like, and it just felt really good after so long of having to like manage the market so tightly with like one-way traffic and like counting everybody in. It just felt like such a relief.
Yeah.
I sort of remember that being like kind of a scene from a musical. People were almost dancing down the aisles. They were so excited.
Like skipping. I got there like an hour early. I was there like 3 a.m. Like, all right, let's go.
Skipping down the aisles. And at the same time, a little bit of confusion. Like, which way do we go now? Oh,
Yeah.
you go anywhere you want.
People were like, where do I walk?
Like, where's the entrance? I'm like,
wherever you want.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. That was a That was a big change and a really good part of the summer, I think, for sure. That was definitely one of my favorite parts. And then also one of my favorite parts of 2021 was the schools reopening.
Oh, yeah.
On a personal note, which also affected my work because
True.
it was real hard for me to work when I was at home with my kids. So they got to go back for like a little bit of the week in April 2021 for the last like 2 months of school. But then in August, when the schools opened and both my little kids went back to school like 5 days a week, it felt very weird, but that was such a relief. And I know that was also true for so many of like our vendors and fellow market managers, is like in the state of California at least, or wherever, if you were in a state that didn't have schools that were open, it just made such a difference.
Yeah.
You know, personally, professionally. So that was definitely a highlight.
Justine and I in September. Wait a minute, Bridget's answering emails.
Yeah.
Whoa.
They're like, wow, you're really working hard. They're like, what are you doing in the office? I'm like, I'm here when I'm not. I don't have to be home with my kids.
Kids have gone back to school. That
was at the spa all
an
day.
exciting part of 2020.
Yeah.
It was exciting. Yeah.
Returning. All of the above, for sure, that first day. That was crazy. But also for me, getting back on the road a little bit in the last part of the year. So safely masking and shielding and doing all those things that you do when you go through an airport. I'm glad that there have been mandates to keep us all safe, but I was able to actually get out a little bit and visit markets, which is always one of my favorite things to do, and I didn't get to do it very much, after first part of 2020, and then I was stuck until middle to end of 2021. But then I did get out, and I was able to visit markets and vendors and market managers in Philly, in D.C., got to say hi to Hugo in D.C., went up to New York City, got to visit some market managers there and some markets that I love, got up even a little bit farther to Hastings-on-Hudson and saw some beautiful markets in that area, checked out markets in downtown Austin and in Phoenix. So we're kind of back at it. That was my big goal in 2020 before it went completely off the rails. Was that I was going to be doing more touring and visiting more markets and doing some of those actual physical consulting outreach things in different parts of the country. And it was really exciting to get a taste of that in the last piece of 2021.
Yeah, that's great.
And in 2022, I know we have a lot of those kind of trips planned and kind of carefully stepping back out into our, like, getting on the road and getting out there to talk to other markets. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Go vaccines.
Yeah.
So what is your biggest accomplishment, either personally or professionally? We did a lot in 2021, even though a lot of our plans were canceled or shifted.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
We got so much
We
done.
had a little more
Good point.
time.
Maybe-
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That is true. I do feel like that. I mean, usually I do a ton of travel every year. I mean, I fit it in between everything. And I haven't been on a plane since early March 2020. So, I mean, it's nice to kind of be home and have that time. So I think we got a little more organized. We got some systems in place that weren't in place before. So that was nice. I think something that I accomplished personally and professionally definitely was learning how to be a kindergarten teacher at home. So on the personal front,
You did a great job.
I did a great job. That kid learned how to read, so go me. And then I think pulling off the virtual conference was really great. It felt really good about we actually were able to do that. And then just setting some boundaries on my work and home life was something that I've always wanted to do. And felt like I accomplished a little bit more and kind of chose the pieces of my work that I enjoy the most and that fit best with my life schedule right now. And so really working a lot harder with Farmers Market Pros and kind of diving in with our online courses and all those things and working a lot harder on the conference coming up this year has been something professionally that I really feel like I've accomplished in this year. What about you, Justine?
Pulling off the virtual conference was huge. That was daunting, but I think that we did a great job. And then also, like, pat us on the back. After we did our conference, we participated in a lot of other virtual online experiences, and I think ours was the best.
Yes.
We did great. I mean, Justine really learned an entire new... She's had at least 2 entirely new careers that she's taken on this last year.
We're like, should we hire a professional? No, we'll just
let Justine
train
figure it out.
and she just becomes
I'll just
the
watch some
professional.
YouTube videos.
She always becomes a professional that we need.
That's right. Yeah.
She's like, you're not hiring anyone else. I'll just be whatever you
I'll
need.
just do it. Job security.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I'm also really proud we revamped our Vendor 101 course. That was something that I listened to our end of year New Year's resolution at the end of 2020 going into 2021 episode of the podcast, and we were patting ourselves on the back for getting Vendor 101 online, which we just kind of did in this, like, just got to get it up. Just
Slap
got to
together.
Just do it. But this last summer, we revamped it. We really went through. We cleaned it up. We made it less San Diego specific and more broad, where it could apply to anybody across the country who wants to become a farmers market vendor. And I think we really did a top-notch job. I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited to make more farmers market courses online available, which we'll talk about more when we get to a look at 2022. But that was a huge accomplishment. And I think just also kind of dialing in our branding and getting all of our farmers market pros stuff on the same page. So
Yeah, I agree. Justine did a great job of taking our script and making it very visual and easy to follow and organized, and really appreciate that. You're pretty much Spike Lee over there.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were both just like, oh, wow, this is great. Well, we're professionals. This is a professional product now.
we are the pros.
Yeah, very proud of Vendor 101 now. It's a beautiful course. What did I do? So many things. It was just a busy year. We were just talking about how long this year was, right? Like 4 years long. But probably one of the biggest things was that as Bridget defined which direction she was going to go, I went back to the idea of getting an on-site operations manager for San Diego markets so that I could concentrate on curating on that end, on some expansion and consulting with other markets in our area, and be able to concentrate on Farmers Market Pros and the additional classes that we're adding. We're getting ready to do a new class. So finding exactly the right person for that was really hard.
Yeah.
And I think we did. So big shout out
She's
to
great.
Alicia. She has been wonderful for us.
Alicia's a goddess.
Oh my gosh, yes.
She's our hero.
She is. So she has enabled me to concentrate on some kind of higher level things at the market level and also on Farmers Market Pros things. In order to make that happen, I think I personally had to get better at delegating and at saying no to things that people wanted me to do.
Very difficult for you.
Yeah.
I got get that big mental do not disturb sign so that I can actually concentrate on script writing and class writing and that kind of thing. So I'm getting better at that personally, just because there was so much of 2020 and 2021 that I really couldn't do it all, and I was forced to learn to pass on some things, even if they sounded like they might be interesting projects.
Yeah, that was huge. Because usually Kat's like, I'm doing this, and me and Bridget are like, what are you doing? Why did you say yes to this thing? But I can confirm you did say no to some projects that normally
I did.
you'd be gobbling up. So
And
good job.
the other really big thing is that I think we just really built on and strengthened our own awesome Farmers Market Pros team. You know,
Yeah.
Justine came back to us in 2020. She had taken another job and then was chipping in and still doing some special project work for us, but she came back to us full time. And then in 2021, thank you, Kirsten Martin, Justine has taken classes and really taken on so many roles in our organization. And Bridget's defined her role better, and so have I. And I think our team has really coalesced into just a powerhouse. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of us and grateful for my teammates here.
Absolutely. I think, looking back at how we've kind of developed over the years, it's just like incredible. We all have kind of sharpened our strengths, and we all have such different strengths, so we fit
Yeah.
together so well. So
Yeah, good
Justine,
triad.
Justina
Go us.
makes us reply to email. She makes us show up
right.
places on time.
It's good to have a gentle but firm nagging element in our your
It's nice to have someone not genetically related to us, so that she doesn't have the same, always late to everything.
It's good to mix
genetics.
up the gene pool a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's good.
That's
Good.
Perfect.
Love it. Okay, well, we have to get to 2022 stuff soon, but before we do that, I just want to give a shout out to, I know at the end of the year, people might have a little bit more time during the holiday season or when their markets are closed to catch up on some podcasts. So I thought it would be fun to give our listeners some of our favorite episodes from this last year, because we've done a lot. I can't believe that amongst all the other things that we've been doing, we churned out a new podcast every single week, even when it was hard, even when we thought we couldn't do it. And we have some really good ones in there. So what were your favorite episodes from this last year?
It was really hard to choose one for sure, and it was nice to go through and look at all the people that we talked to and all those subjects that we covered over 2021. But I'm going to say that our interview, and it was back in January 2021, so almost a year ago, with Cherie Murato and Stephanie Jokic from the Chicago Farmers Market Collective. That was, first of all, they were hilarious, and they were so much fun to talk to. And it was in January, a very dark time in our lives, and just hearing them talk about things that market managers have to do and kind of coming together, and how weird that is, and how it's like feels scandalous to like partner with your fellow market managers. I find myself like laughing when I'm listening to that episode, and it was just so comforting during a time where I kind of felt all alone in this farmers market management world. It was such a great interview with them, and I just really and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about how to like communicate with other market managers and stuff. So it was great.
It made it very much seem that like, you know, kind of the misery loves company. The struggles that we were facing are these universal market manager things, and it's not just like the universe like punishing us specifically.
For sure. And then they just did it with their humor, so it was great. Justine, what was your favorite episode?
Again, I love so many of them, and I have the pleasure of recording them and then editing them. And so I usually get to listen to each episode a couple times. But I really love the episode with Shiny. She just had such a unique perspective as somebody who is both a farmer and a market manager. And she just gave a lot of like really clear nuts and bolts tips on how to make your market feel inclusive. And I loved she kind of like the takeaway for me is like when you're dealing with somebody who's kind of not being the way that you want the people, or not acting in a way that makes people feel included at your market, just saying, we don't do that here. And just kind of directly addressing situations like that and not apologizing for the rules that you've established for your market. And I don't know, she just has like she is so herself that it kind of just like made me think about like, how can I pull like myself into when I'm at the market, and kind of just setting the tone for your shoppers and your vendors and not being apologetic about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, she was amazing. In fact, Shiny Flannery, Justine's talking about from Come Through PDX up in Portland, will also be at the conference.
Yeah.
Doing a full session at our conference in March. So we're really looking forward to that. That was a great episode.
Yeah.
I learned a lot
about
about that. Yeah, I learned a lot with her episode.
I had so many. Diana Rose from Queens. in
Yeah,
New
she was
York.
awesome.
Yeah, she was.
That was
a
almost
great
my other
interview.
pick.
Yeah,
She was a
sweet.
big one.
Yeah.
Megan Harris, who I could just listen to
Hilarious.
over and over because her accent, and she's just so funny. And we got to see, and I know y'all listen to these just on audio, but since we record them on Zoom, we got a chance to see her changing baby's diapers and her cat in the window and her chickens outside.
She's obviously amazing at multitasking.
That's right.
And having a great sense of humor.
So down to earth. And it's always really interesting to me because I tend to run larger markets, and certainly I'm running urban markets, to hear from somebody that's got a much different size and different kind of environment for their market, because she's a fairly new market manager with a pretty small market.
And how some of the struggles or challenges or
are still the same.
Cool triumphs that she has are just the same that we have at our
Yeah.
market,
Right.
even though she's dealing with like a different, more rural market.
Right.
It was so fun to talk to her, and it was nice to. And if you should follow her on Instagram because she's just a hoot.
Yeah, she is a hoot.
She's
That's
a hoot.
exactly how she would say it. And then I think in terms of takeaways, one of my very favorites was our episode with Panita Patel, who has a
she was
Buffalo
great,
milk
too.
product line at markets in Texas, right?
Florida.
In Texas?
Florida.
Florida. You're
That's
right.
right, yeah.
You're right. But the big takeaway, she had so many interesting things to say, and I loved listening to her. But one of the things that she said that stayed with me all year, really, is that she was really emotionally attached to one piece of her product line. It was a recipe that came down through her family, and it was culturally important, and she really wanted to include it, and it just didn't resonate with the customers at her markets. She had a lot of other products, and she was frustrated that they wouldn't buy this one that she thought was so important, even though they were buying a lot of the other products. And I think it was a conversation between she and her husband, and she had to just come to the realization that sometimes there are things that you think are a good idea or that you're emotionally attached to that are not benefiting your business, and you need to walk away from those. And that
That's
actually
such a good
has
lesson.
such a good lesson. It has really resonated with me. There's things that I just think we should be doing that would be nice to do that I invented or I adapted, and I just think, why isn't this working? And sometimes things just don't work, and you should concentrate on the ones that are working.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good lesson for me. Thank you, Panita.
Yes.
Such a good lesson.
Great lessons in all those podcasts. Little buried treasures.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, shall we look towards the future?
Let's do it.
Okay, so
Feeling more hopeful this year than I was in 2020.
yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, it feels good.
New Year's resolution, get through tomorrow.
Yes.
So, question, what is your farmers market related or farmers market pro related New Year's resolution for 2022? What do you want to accomplish in the next calendar year?
Go, Justine.
Well, mine is to obviously pull off the best in-person, intense farmers market conference ever. I can't believe it's been almost 2 full years since we saw everybody in person, and I just cannot wait to be in the same room as everybody. And I think that we have an amazing lineup of speakers, and it's just going to be great. So I'm really looking forward to pulling off the best in-person conference ever. And then also coming out with more online courses. We are going to start recording one this week that I'm really excited for. Hopefully have it out just right after the new year. And then we're working on a really big one for market managers that'll be out sometime early-ish next year. So
That's going to be a biggie.
yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
Justine's got to keep Kat on track for that.
Yeah.
Oh, she does a great job of that.
She really
breaks
does.
things down into chunks that I can manage, and then she gives me deadlines, and then she, as we mentioned before, gently but definitively nags.
You should send Dave an email and tell him how good I am at nagging. And how
Yeah,
much
we'll tell your husband that we love your nagging.
We're going to tell Dave that we appreciate your nagging, and that anybody who is nagged by you should be appreciative.
It's how I show love.
You don't know how good you have it to be nagged by Justine.
That's right.
What about you, Kat?
Well, Justine made one for me, and it actually has been a resolution of mine for many, many years that I would get back to writing. I came from writing. I got into food things, turned it into food writing, but then got into a lot of other food things. I've been trying to get back to writing. I'm going to try and write more books, write more articles, write more op-eds, which I've done before. I'll continue to write Farmers Market Pros scripts for classes that we're creating, but I'm also I'm gonna write a book, and if it's not the big book, which is so daunting that I just stay paralyzed
Baby
and I don't
steps.
really plunge
Baby
into it. We're gonna take baby steps. Justine and Bridget have convinced me to write a smaller book, kind of a more concise book that I've been talking about for a while. My resolution right now, again, nagged by Justine, is that I will have that baby book out. Not about babies. It's just a smaller, it's a small book. It's not a giant, great American memoir. But I will write that smaller book, and it will be available at Intense 2022. So
Woo! Now you're saying it.
I'm saying it out loud to a
forevermore.
lot of people.
Also, by the time this episode comes out, your
should be
due
halfway
date
in.
will have passed. So
That's true. It should be at the printer by then.
Yeah, I'm sure it
Okay.
is.
I'm sure it is. I'm
now
sure
that you
we-
recorded it.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
We're
Say it
recording
out
into the
loud.
future.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Bridget, I wrote one for you too.
I really like Justine's. This is my favorite resolution of all time, is that I retire from Sonofest, which, if you're not local in San Diego, you might not know, but I do run a very large annual event that's the first Sunday in December. So by the time you hear it, it will have passed. At the time of recording, I'm not sleeping, and it's crying every day of how many tests I have to do because I know we all run markets for a living, but this is a volunteer position that I hold for this huge event with alcohol and donated chili from local restaurants and live music on 2 stages, and we bring about 20,000 people to this event. So
It's for the children.
it's for the kids.
For the kids.
It provides the funding for the art program at the public elementary school in my neighborhood, which is where now one of my kids goes. So anyways, I have declared that it's my final year chairing this event for many years now, but this year will be my final. No, this is
Now,
on
you're
air.
saying that out loud to a lot of people.
See, I'm just
Yeah.
going to play this for the board at the
That's right.
school and say,
Send them a
look, I
link.
said that it's my last one. I can't go back on it. So it'll be my last year chairing, and I love this event, but I'm done with it. And then I can fully focus, especially during this time of year, on all of my awesome Farmers Market Pros things coming up and stuff at the market. I do want to get, I think looking into 2022, I'm excited to get some really good systems down. And to help Alicia kind of filing systems and tracking systems and things like that, vendor communication, which we have been really doing a great job, increasing how that's working. But I have some really good new ideas for that.
Yeah, formalize a few things.
Formalizing some things, great. And then helping with, farmers market consulting with other market managers and a lot of stuff that Kat's been doing a little bit of that I want to kind of push her to do a lot more and also step in and help and go speak at other conferences, be on other podcasts.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Things like that. All my goals that I had for 2020 that really got pushed to the back burner because I have small kids. But anyway, so those are my looking into 2022, and also the conference is going to be amazing. So that's my big goal. Big goal at the beginning of the year.
Okay, so really quick, we only have a couple minutes left, but
Yeah.
as I said, I listened to last year's episode. to hear what our New Year's resolutions were for 2021. And so I just wanted to accountability check, or just we can laugh at how naive we were last year. So
That's how it always is, right?
Bridget's New Year's resolution for 2021 was to spend less time on social media and be more mindful online.
Huh.
How'd that go?
I don't know.
Off and on.
Off and on. I feel like I have set a little bit of boundaries with that, but also have been sucked back into that. So that is, I'm going to refresh that New Year's resolution for the next year, too.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. That's
Okay.
a good one. So,
All right.
continuation of 2021.
Yes.
You also, last year, when we were recording, were on a sugar detox, which you did again this year.
I did it again. And I just did it, and I actually stuck with it. So that was actually really great for my body, and I felt good, and I did that. So I can check that off.
Great. Progress.
Okay? And also
You did
my
it.
one that I said I was going to cook more, because I have become a bona fide chef. Or as my son would say, cheffer. And when I say that, I mean I'm not just making mac and cheese for dinner, okay? I've expanded.
That's right. I've been
Chef
repressed.
Boyardee.
Yes, Chef Boyardee. So yes, I did want to cook more, and I did cook more.
Yeah,
Great.
I've been impressed by that.
Yeah,
Great.
I'll call that a win.
All right, Kat, last year you were working on developing a personal meditation practice. How did that
No, that didn't happen.
Didn't do that.
That didn't happen.
That's a nice thought,
I might
though.
tackle that one again.
Yeah, I can always go
I
back
did
to
do
it.
That's the
some,
evergreen one. You can
yeah.
always do that every
Yeah.
year.
I did get back into some more physical things. I got kind of revived my Pilates practice, which
Oh,
was good,
good.
and that's a little meditative, sort
Yeah.
of, when you're working out at that.
There you go.
Did Qigong with a friend that's in the UK that goes online and leads kind of a cool group through that, which is sort of a Tai Chi-ish
Yeah.
kind of movement thing, which was good, also somewhat meditative. So, okay, so I guess it's not a complete laugh out loud on the meditation
Yeah.
practice.
Say
I
a half,
did do
half a check mark on
yeah,
that.
half check mark. I
There
did
you
some
go.
physical things that involve some meditativeness, and
Good
that
job.
probably really helped me get through some of the rougher parts of the year.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Well, any plans or any New Year's resolution for this year? You want to roll that one over?
I'm going to roll that one over. I'd kind of like to ramp up my physical stuff. I did do a lot of walking this year again, and especially in the last half of the year, so that was great. And yeah, go a little bit deeper into the physical things, rolling that over again. And then what else? More writing. That's my next. Are we talking about what the next ones are?
Yeah,
While
we'll just
we're
roll
reviewing
roll
that
it
one?
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, more writing this year, and actually my secret. It's not very secret, and I'm telling people on a podcast, so it's way not secret now. But kind of my plan, should we not have any new pandemics or seriously life rearranging issues happening, is I'd really like to go back to my long-term plan of creating kind of a bi-coastal living arrangement where I am back east part of the time. Love you, Philly. And then in San Diego the rest of the time. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome.
I like that goal.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I have a plan.
Well, my New Year's resolution, I hate to be an overachiever here, but I crushed it.
You did.
So my,
Of course you
my
did.
New Year's resolution, I talked about this last year on the podcast, but I am a total clothes horse. I love clothes. I love shopping. And so I made a New Year's resolution to not buy any ready-to-wear clothes. And if I was going to buy clothes, they either had to be vintage or I could buy fabric to make my own clothes. And I wasn't perfect. I did buy some new ready-to-wear stuff, but I definitely scaled it way back.
I think most of your clothes are like from vintage shops, or you're just making all these
I'm wearing
clothes.
Made the most amazing wardrobe of clothes.
I'm wearing head-to-toe Me Made right now.
Oh, my
And my
gosh.
shoes are secondhand.
Great.
Good job.
Look at
So-
you. Look at you
No, you
with
made
your goals.
beautiful things this year. I was so excited. I mean, she started out
With masks.
chained to that sewing machine with the masks, and then advanced from there to couture.
Just developed. We're waiting for that fruit jumper for all of us.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I'm working on it.
Yes.
I got some Christmas presents in the works.
Oh,
But
cool.
I love your Instagram too. With your,
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
what's it called? What About Bobbin?
What about Bobbin?
Yeah,
That's right.
and you can see all of Justine's cool outfits, and it's just so incredible to see because that doesn't even make sense in my head how people make clothes. So I love watching.
It's like
you
following a
make it.
recipe.
Okay,
It's similar.
Now I can relate to that.
It's similar.
as
It's
of
like
the last year.
You get to choose your ingredients and then you
Yeah.
follow a recipe. And there's definitely some you can put a dash of this and a dash of that. Once you kind of get your bearings a little bit, I know how to saute, then you can kind of play around with stuff.
I feel like it's recipes
similar.
that also require a certain level of hand-eye coordination that I might not possess.
Less of that needed for cooking.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
We all have our strengths.
Yeah, so that's
Yes.
been really fun. And then I'm going to put one more little New Year's resolution for 2022. This coming year will be my 5-year wedding anniversary. So my goal is to finally go on a true honeymoon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kick out of the country for a little bit.
We're very supportive of that, and Kat and I will be nagging you to actually do that.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
because
a good-
we believe in the me time.
And then you get a break from emails.
Yes,
for a
that's
couple
also why
weeks
we
in
want
the
you to leave
summer,
it.
right?
Please
Yes.
leave the country so we can rest.
Go on a honeymoon. Arrivederci.
Yeah. Allora. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. But,
Yeah.
Exciting.
but I feel good about 2022.
I do
Me
too.
too.
There's some good stuff on the horizon, some things to really look forward to, and can't get any worse, right?
Yeah. Just
Oh,
remember
Lord
that.
Almighty, somebody knock wood
Somebody
right
knock
away.
on wood.
No, it can't get
my
worse.
goodness.
Oh, heavens.
Remember that resilience that we all built.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just remember that and carry that into the new year so that we're ready for anything. If anything does happen, we're ready for it.
Maybe
We can
that's it.
We can
Yeah.
handle it.
It may or may not get worse. We're going to say not.
Yeah.
We're thinking positive here, visualizing success and peace. But we have built such resilience and we are master pivoters that
We can
no matter
handle
what
it.
happens, it'll be handled more easily.
We got it.
Yeah.
We got it. And we're in this together. I think there was a lot
That's
of
right.
coming together. And so we can do it together.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening today. While this episode was supported by Vendor 101, it was also supported, as they all are, by you, our listeners. The joy of visiting farmers markets in all parts of the country and discovering farmers, food makers, and managers who listen to Tent Talk has been a priceless part of 2021. Thank you for listening, leaving reviews wherever you listen to podcasts, emailing us with comments and questions, and being part of our Farmers Market Pros community all year long. As we wrap up this year, we are better and stronger together. To all of you and yours, we appreciate you. Eat well, be well, and we'll see you in 2022 right here and inside the tent at farmers markets worldwide.
Farmers markets are all about connection, and all of us, operators, farmers, and vendors, keep learning. Join us and your fellow market participants at the 6th annual Intense the Farmers Market Conference in San Diego, California on March 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2022 to grow your market and your community. Thanks for listening to Tent Talk. Please leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you access your podcast, and tell us and others how you're enjoying Tent Talk. If you are listening on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss the next episode. Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast, is proudly produced by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded and edited by Justine Marzoni-Mead. Original music by David Mead. Thank you so much for listening today, and we'll have another great episode next week. Tune in.